So today I'm going to make you a drink that really encapsulates the ethos that we have here at Ruby, working with products that we really like, as well as local producers and local farms. It's a drink called the Nude Way, and it's a twist on a Whisky Sour. Hi, my name is Michael. We're here in Copenhagen at a bar called Ruby, one of the oldest cocktail bars in Copenhagen, having opened in 2007. We're a two-story cocktail bar with the main bar here that we're in today, focusing on seasonal drinks, also with a basement bar that focuses purely on classic cocktails. I would say the main flavour components, of course, has got that big hit of whiskey, so it's unmistakably a whiskey sour. The tomato gives a really kind of nice savoury dryness to the drink, and the cherry is sour cherry, but then we also give it a little bit of sweetness. So it gives a really pure cherry flavour that works really, really well with the tomato. And then that little hint of cherry Eau de Vie kind of gives another element of cherry that you don't find in the sour cherry juice. So I would describe it as a cherry style whiskey sour for sure. So this is a shaking cocktail, so I'm going to get my shaking tin out. We're going to start off with the main component of the drink, which is a Scotch whisky. So this is Naked Malt, one of my favourite blended whiskies, finished in Oloroso sherry. So it gives a nice little fruitiness to the cocktail that we're really going to try and encapsulate in the cocktail with the rest of the ingredients. So we're starting off with 45 millilitres of the Naked Malt. The next ingredient that we're going to put in is a Japanese liqueur. This is called Tomato. It is a tomato-based liqueur based on tomato distillate, tomato water, and tomato syrup. So we're going to add a little small amount of this in. We're going to add 12.5 millilitres of the tomato. So this is kind of going to add a savoury note to the cocktail, and it's really going to work well with the other ingredients that we're about to put in. The next ingredient is a cherry Eau de Vie. This is from Austria. We're going to put a tiny amount of this in. It gives an amazing spectrum of the pure cherry flavour. So 2.5 millilitres of the cherry Eau de Vie. So this is our alcohol that we put into the drink. We're now done with that component. We're now going to add our sweet and sour elements to the drink. So the next ingredient is a sour cherry cordial. Here in Denmark we have a cherry vineyard that makes cherry wine. They also make a sour cherry juice. So we get this and we add a little bit of sugar to it to make our sweet component. And to the cocktail we're going to add 20 millilitres. And then for the sour component, what we have here is something called whey. So whey is an amazing ingredient that we get from our milk farm that we work with. It's basically the leftovers of yogurt production. It's a waste product, so we get it for very, very cheap. It's very high in protein, so it gives a nice kind of texture to the cocktail, and it also gives an acidity as well. So this kind of replaces the lemon juice and also the egg white that you would normally find in a traditional whiskey sour. So we're going to add 20 millilitres of the whey. So everything's in, now we're going to give it a shake. Double strain it into our Naked Malt glass. then we're going to keep the garnish very, very simple. So what we have here is tonka bean that has been infused into the naked malt. So tonka bean is a spice. The flavour is very reminiscent of vanilla. It has a chemical compound in it called coumarin, which is also found in cherries. So it goes very, very well with the cherry element of the drink as well. Just going to spray it on top. And that is our drink finished. This is the Nude Way. So before we got hold of the La Tomato, we used to make our own infusion. So we used to get red cherry tomatoes, and we used to infuse them into a white Bianco vermouth called Cocchi Americano. So it's basically 2 parts Cocchi Americano to 1 part chopped cherry tomatoes. And we sous vide that or heated it up for an hour at 60 degrees. And that gave a really, really nice result. We just tried it this way, and it took away an element of prep for us, and it worked really, really well. But the cherry Cocchi Americano, the cherry tomato Cocchi Americano worked really nicely as well. So it can easily be replaced with lemon juice. So the same amount of lemon juice that I use of whey, so 20 ml, and then add a dash of egg white. We've done that with this drink, and it works perfectly well. For us being a high volume bar, it just works really, really well to get something that we don't need to do any prep or we don't need to do anything to it. We get it for a lot cheaper than we can get lemons. It's made at a local farm. We get the milk from them that we use for milk punches. So for us, it just makes a lot of sense. If it doesn't make sense, if you haven't got a cheesemaker nearby you, if you have got a cheesemaker nearby, you can get free whey because it's a waste product for them. But if you cannot, lemon juice works perfectly well with a little dash of egg white as well. Yes, that's very, very easy. So what we get is we take a small amount of naked malt. So we take 100 milliliters of naked malt, and then we crush in 1 tonka bean, and we leave it overnight. And that flavour of the tonka comes through really, really nicely. We then just strain it off, and then we just put it into a spray bottle. So after COVID, we really tried to focus as much as we could on using local products. So that's basically using as working with as many local farms as possible. Before that, we mainly just worked with a fruit distributor, where we used to get our lemons and limes and all kinds of fruit from all over the world. But we really tried to focus as much on local products as much as possible. So the cherry juice comes from a local cherry vineyard, and the whey comes from a local farm. And we've tried to basically build as many relationships that we can with local farmers and work a lot more with our community, which is something that's very important to us as a bar, particularly the last couple of years. Yeah, we try not to shout about it too much, but our entire menu is based on local products. We can make all the classics that we possibly can. We have lemon juice, we have lime juice, but we don't use any lemon or lime particularly on the menu. And all the perishable ingredients that we use on the menu have come from farms in Denmark. So the agriculture here in Denmark is definitely not as diverse as what you would find in, say, for instance, Australia or South Africa. During the winter times, pretty much nothing grows, so we have to kind of become accustomed to preservation techniques. So during the summer, we get amazing fruits, amazing berries. We work a lot with strawberries. We get amazing cherries, rhubarb. We get a lot of amazing flowers, leaves that we have to kind of pick in the summer and preserve them in a way that we can use them throughout the winter, because during the winter here is pretty bleak. The bar scene in Copenhagen is very small, but it's very evolved in what we can offer. It's not as diverse as places like London and Melbourne, of course, because we're a lot smaller in terms of population. But the food scene here is probably up there with the best in the world. We've got amazing bakeries, amazing wine bars, amazing coffee shops. and the bar scene is up there with all of them as in terms of what they can offer. So we're a lot smaller, a bit more humble than a lot of other cities, but we offer an amazing scene and a great place for international bartenders as well to come over and ply their trade as well. First and foremost, we want to give people the warmest service possible, and that's something that we strive for every single day. We look to give them a different experience to what they'll get in other bars in Copenhagen. We look to give them an experience where they'll be trying some different ingredients, some different cocktails, maybe drinks they haven't tried before, but we also just try and, first and foremost, give them the warmest possible service.